guys, it's Trina and this is another of my audiobook review videos. So I'll be just wrapping up my thoughts on the last few audiobooks that I listened to in 2017. I'm mainly just talking about the narration quality and whether or not I liked it and whether or not it added to or took away from the story. And if you guys love audiobooks, I will link my entire playlist of all my audiobook reviews down in the description, and also look out for my favorite audiobooks of the year video, which will be posted soon, or maybe it's already up. I don't really know what my posting schedule is like right now. It's chaotic. I have 7 audiobooks to review today, and 4 of them are all in the same series, so I'm going to kind of lump those together and talk about them at the end because it's the Harry Potter series and they all get to be talked about together. But first up, I'm going to be talking about the audiobook of Magnus Chase and the Sword of Summer by Riordan. This audiobook was narrated by Christopher Guetig. I own the print version of this, but I tried the audio because I listened to the entire Heroes of Olympus series and part of the first Percy Jackson series on audio. However, I actually DNF'd this audiobook and switched to the print pretty early on. I did not like the narration. I don't know how to say this well, but I felt like it really dumbed down the story. Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't a fan of it, so I switched to the print. So that's all I'm going to say. I did appreciate having listened to the first bit of it on audio because this is a series that's based on like Norse mythology, and I didn't know how to pronounce all of the words or names. There is a glossary in the back of the book, and I think it does have a pronunciation key, maybe. But having listened to it at first, I went into the print book knowing how to pronounce a bunch of these names and words and stuff. So that was beneficial, but to me, the narration was not enjoyable. I think that his other 2 series had better audiobook narration, and I really thoroughly enjoyed this one and the characters and the writing in the print format, so I would recommend the print book over the audiobook if you have the option to choose. Next, I listened to Before the Devil Breaks You, written by Libba Bray, narrated by LaVoy. This is the 3rd book in the Diviners series, and I just cannot ever stop gushing about my love for the audiobooks and for this narrator. LaVoy is a fantastic narrator. She just does a fantastic job with everything in these books. This series has a pretty large cast of characters, like main characters whose point of views we follow, not to mention the countless side characters, and LaVoy is narrating this audiobook by herself. This is a series that could have definitely had a full cast of narrators, but LaVoy carries this story and all of these characters by herself, and I think she is wonderful. She does unique voices for all of the characters. You have scenes where there's 10 different characters in the same room having this conversation back and forth, and there's never a question of who is speaking. The series also deals with ghosts, so sometimes when a ghostly character is on page, she reads it in kind of like a creepier, wavery voice that is really fitting for that. And this series also involves a lot of songs. LaVoy makes up a tune and she sings that. And also this series is set in 1920s New York. She does the accents and the slang flawlessly. I love it. I love it. I love this audiobook so much. If you have not started this series yet and you're interested in it at all, I definitely recommend the audiobooks. I have also read the print books of book 1 and 2. They're wonderful in the print format, but oh my gosh, I have yet to find any audiobook with a single narrator that is just as amazing of a performance as this is. Like, seriously, listen to these audiobooks. They're amazing. Next, I listened to Obsidian and Stars by Eshbaugh, and this audiobook was narrated by Suzanne, Elise, Freeman. This is the sequel to Ivory and Bone, and this is another one where I wasn't a big fan of this particular story in the audio format, because I read the print book of the first book, and I think that print allowed me to pick up on more of the details, specifically in action scenes. And I think that the narrator of this one read the basic descriptive parts kind of lifelessly. There wasn't a lot of personality or just much inflection happening. I did think that her dialogue was stronger than just like the plain text narration, so she did alright with the dialogue, and I did think that she kind of suited the character of Maya, who is the first person point of view character that we're reading from. So like that was okay. It just like, this wasn't my favorite performance or anything, and I don't particularly think that the action scenes were well fitted to her style of narration or to this format at all. So kind of lukewarm on this one. And lastly, I'm going to be talking about 4 of the Harry Potter books that I have recently listened to. Chamber of Secrets, Prisoner of Azkaban, Goblet of Fire, and Order of the Phoenix. I listened to all of these in the past few months. Anyway, these are written by J.K. Rowling, of course, and the audiobooks that I'm listening to are the US editions, so they are narrated all by Jim Dale. I did review Sorcerer's Stone in a previous audiobook wrap-up video, and if you remember what I said about it there, pretty much my thoughts are the same. I think that some of Jim Dale's voicing doesn't really fit like my headcanon for the characters, but that doesn't mean he's not doing a good job because he has to give voices to several different characters. Now, the only specific things I have to say about this group of books is that in Prisoner of Azkaban, I started noticing I did not like the way that he voiced Hermione in certain scenes. There was just like this one quality to how he would always say Harry's name. Like when Hermione is saying Harry to like get his attention, it's always Harry. It just made her sound so whiny. But then I felt like that started to go away in books 4 and 5. In book 5, I really disliked his voicing for Luna Lovegood. I can't describe it in a nice way, so I'm not going to. Overall, I really think that the audio format is very suited to the Harry Potter world and story. If you are ever wanting to do a reread and you haven't listened to the audiobooks and you can, I think that it's just a great way to re-experience this world in a new format. I've really enjoyed listening to this series this year. Those are all the audiobooks that I have recently listened to round out my 2017 year of audio, and I like to end these videos by telling you guys my favorite, and I think it's pretty obvious. My favorite of this batch is Before the Devil Breaks You by Libba Bray and narrated by January LaVoy. Like, I will listen to anything January LaVoy narrates. I think she is so talented, and just the quality of that production is amazing. If you've listened to anything recently or have any audiobook recommendations for me, please drop that in the comments. I would love to hear from you. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the comments. Bye!